on a balmy Friday evening with the noise of carefree people letting themselves go. Another set of people, seniors really, started walking past young and old splashing and cavorting in the large pool. Others lazing on lounge chairs, people stuffing themselves with burgers or surfeiting with rum or pina coladas. These seniors who are walking to a room set specially for them were people who had decades earlier lived together, fretted together, had their meals together, misered their few dollars together for 2 years. And then they had gone about their careers. They were coming together now, some having not seen the others for 50 years since they left the Mico College as intern teachers in 1973. Good day. This is a special edition of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast. It's about a set of Jamaican people and about change and circles. Please share the podcast and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. This November evening, with the sun dipping beyond multi-storied buildings by the sea and ignoring the chatter and laughter, those now gathering in lounge suits and beautifully cut gowns and what's left of the hair styled would say there was something special about themselves. They had gone to the Mico at a time of change. The country was short of teachers. The junior secondary schools, dozens of them, built at the end of the decade of the 60s, had started opening up, sounding the death knell to the end of schooling for the majority at 15. The curriculum had to change too. More secondary school teachers would be needed. Mico College itself was under change. The staid, unquestioning and unquestionable status represented by Glen Owen, KEPS, was coming down too. Some of what they promised didn't happen, like we would get to do A-levels while learning pedagogy. So some of us went straight from fifth form in high school to the Mico. Among those in the room at Bahia Principe in Runaway Bay, that November night, just gone, was Professor Errol Miller, who in his mid-30s became principal of the oldest teacher training institution in the British Caribbean. He was the grub principal. In those days, ragging was a runaway locomotive, cherished by some, and some even sought to rag Professor Miller. For them, he was an upstart. Prof. Miller's comments at this formal dinner showed he's still sharp, cogent. Indeed, he had just finished another book. And then the young transformative principal, Ashburn Pinnock, was there too, linking the present Mico University College to the past and the future. Those of the batch of 73 who had assembled were from all over Jamaica, but it was noticeable and became clearer over the reunion days that the majority were living overseas. Two, it was clear that most of those at the reunion, and apparently of the class of 73, had left teaching, even having done further studies in education. They had left the classroom within a decade or two of graduation. I used the opportunity not so much to find out why, but to ask some to reflect on what society offered then and now. Here first is Marlin Adams.
Okay. Well, I left Jamaica in 1992. Went to live in the United States. I was a teacher here, as you might know, from the Mico. But when I went over there, I did not go into teaching. I went into the nursing field. And I found it quite different. Matter of fact, I wanted to continue teaching, but the indiscipline drove me away. So I found solace somewhere else. I worked with...
You all right?
So I worked with the elderly.
That's a nice one.
Work with the elderly. And I found it's almost like being with the kids because it's just at the other end of the spectrum. So I've made some good friends along the way. I have managed to increase my family per se because my daughter Mara gave me a grandson and we're enjoying life.
And how you feel about Jamaica now that you have come back and seen it?
Well, I came back a few times and there are drastic changes. I mean, everywhere where I used to live in Portmore, and I don't think I can find anywhere over there by myself because of the development. But the most striking thing is the price of things. Those big numbers that you have to pay to get anything, I can't imagine because I don't even know the price of a bread. How much is the price of a bread?
500.
What size?
2 pounds.
Oh my goodness. 500 for a 2 pound piece of bread. And when I go up there to buy it for, depends on which brand, to buy it for say $3, I complain that it's very expensive.
So Jamaica better or worse for you now?
It does not look worse, but I think for some people are really struggling. I would think, especially if they have a large family.
Then now, also living away is Derek Warmington.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Funny thing, prior to my entry in Mico, I thought I was going to be a minister for the job. But then I had a principal, V.H. Waller. That man greatly influenced my life. And seeing the type of teacher that he was, I said, boy, teaching had to be for me. Let me tell you something quick about it. In a rural area, not a cultural area, but I had about a school that had about 500 students. On a Friday, in a rural area, you had over 400 students coming to school. It gives you an idea what type of person that man was. So I went on to Mico, and I decided to be a teacher because I felt that coming from a rural community, that I could have done something to create an impact on other people's life. The Mico then, when I entered, I got to say, sir, is quite different from what I see from an economic point of view for the students. When I went there, everything was free except for caution fee. We got 3 meals per day. We got breakfast, we got lunch, we got supper. And then one of the favorite of all my Iconians was what we call the pug. And for those who don't know what pug is, it's almost like a snack that you get between meals. Now, these students, they don't get that. They have to pay for everything. And I was told that for a student to complete his degree at Mico, it's about maybe $3 million or so. I might be wrong, but there's around the ballpark. So when I left there energized and felt the vigor just to do and to create a great impact into the lives of people. I want to say this also, that when I went there, the social setting was a bit different from now. We had what was called ragging. I don't think, and most of us know what it is, but I don't think that goes on now. The thing about it, important about ragging, what is good about it though, when you look back at it tried to bring everybody on the same understanding, so nobody went there feeling himself or herself superior to anyone. And in the art, just imagine the art sonnet that in the first 6 months of going to Mico, we had to be dressing in suit and tie, going across roads. Now you couldn't tell those young folks that they don't have that thing anymore. Dressing tie and looking almost as if you're coming from church. But that was then. So I spent some time in teaching, and then I migrated to the United States of America.
And how you feel about Jamaica now? You've come back, you're here now. When you look around, when you see Jamaica, when you think about it, you must think about it. How you feel about Jamaica now? Tell us that in 30 seconds.
Things have changed a lot. The social setting has changed. And what I'm concerned about, and the level of disrespect that sometimes you see in school with kids not respecting teachers. And whereas in my time, the community and the schools work together, there seems to be a different then. And then the learning environment is so different now.
And what you see of the future?
There's always hope. There's always hope. And what has to be done in order for us to get to a stage where we're able to maximize the potential of our people, it means that we have got to go back to that basic concept where community and the teacher work together, because the school cannot exist in a vacuum. It has to get the full backing of parents, teachers, students. The whole community has to be involved.
The next podcast, I'll wrap up this Mico journey. But before I go, here's what happened at the end of some long evenings wishing for the green grass of home.
Arm in arm, we walk at daybreak. Again, untouched, green grass.
Thank you for joining yet another episode of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast. I know you have some Miconian or someone influenced by a Miconian to share this with. Please share and subscribe. I am Franklin McKnight. Until then,